I don't know if you have been able to check our last statement on Twitter. I am just going to read it here. I think it's super important. And if not, you can go to the Fnatic Twitter to see it. I'm going to read it now. We have done a public statement, and it's: now that the path forward for the playoffs is clear, we wanted to be transparent with our fans about a health situation within our LEC team. Last week, 2 people at the Fnatic Berlin facility tested positive for COVID-19. They have since been in quarantine and are showing only mild symptoms. In line with Fnatic internal policies, we ask everyone that has been exposed to our positive cases to be retested and work remotely. On receiving the result, our first priority was to set up our team safely and in a way which ensured we could complete our fixtures. We collaborated with Riot to ensure we could compete in our LEC games as scheduled. We wanted to protect confidentiality and focus on the competition. Now the weekend has completed and we can look forward to a playoff place where we are able to update the fans with the facts. We are aiming to return to the Berlin facility as soon as we can, and we are confident that all our members will be fully recovered soon and ready for an amazing playoffs run. This is not obviously to put excuses, and that doesn't mean that there are a lot of things that obviously we need to improve as a team, and that we actually committing mistakes that we shouldn't, and that we are having problems to find our style, and that we are in our decision making taking too many risks on time, or taking too many fights, or all this kind of stuff. It's there, and it's things that we are working on. And again, this is not put any excuse on all those other things that we need to work on or that we need to improve, but this is actually for people to understand why the last weeks have been more complicated, and therefore this has had an impact on our games, on our practice, on our day-to-day routines, and have made things way more difficult. We didn't expect at all what happened this weekend. We were coming confident into the weekend despite of, as I said, the challenges. Last week we showed a lot of improvement, even though it was also a hard week, and we had like good games with really good upsides. And then we came into these games against Salke, against Misfits, and at the very end against Rock. We saw a bit of a an unknown Fnatic, but it's actually a known one, like when we have done when we have showed our worst version. So it's already a known version of us, but yeah, like unknown with the progression and the trajectory that we were having. So first of all, I think the best thing out of our games is that we are throwing them ourselves. And this is obviously a difficult message to send, but it's the reality. Teams are not being better than us. We are throwing our games alone. And why is this positive? Well, this means that in reality, like if we do our homework, if we improve the things that we have to improve, and if we take these 2 weeks to actually come to an agreement on how we want to face playoffs, like have a clear strategy, like improve on the mistakes that we have been committing, and improving our practice a lot during these 2 weeks, we can be a really strong team. Because actually there has not been any team that has outplayed us in the game. It has been more us forcing plays or diving into towers, or like taking fights in objectives that probably were like already lost, and we are taking a fight that was not making much sense there, or yeah, like all this kind of stuff that even when we have started the games in a really good position, but I believe against Salke we started with 2 really good games from Healy, and we started 2-0, and yeah, like we actually were not, like after that we started to commit so many mistakes when taking so many fights that we shouldn't take. And it was a game that with that early lead, the draft that we had, that it was a good draft. I think like not committing those mistakes, we would have just snowballed that game probably. This is the positive read that we can do out of these games, and it's we are doing really good things sometimes, and we are doing really bad things. But if we stop doing those really bad things, normally we have really good plays on the map. So many times we are giving the game almost for free before minute 15. And that is obviously something that we need to stop by being more on the same page when what fights we want to take towards what objectives we want to play, and communicate better in what is our prior in the map. Our players are talking about how we are feeling and how everyone is like, how everyone's sentiment and after these games. Obviously everyone was very sad with the outcome of the week, but also we were really excited about these 2 weeks. Already our last week, despite, as I said, all the challenges, our head was in, oh my god, we can do so many good things in these 2 weeks, we can improve so much on this and work on this kind of stuff in these 2 weeks, and we are going to be super ready for playoffs. And everyone is very confident about what we can do in playoffs, despite the poor level that we have shown this round. But everyone is super confident about what we can do. And I think still we are going to have a few challenges with our current situation, and having some people quarantined, like having everyone quarantined, and not being able to be on the same page until we have cleared all these situations. So this is still going to be challenging, but we have 2 great weeks ahead of us to work around these things, and I think this is just what we need. Then what we can talk about is what is the outcome of this weekend. Like, what has happened this weekend after with these 3 losses? We are going to the loser bracket. What does that mean for us? How we can face still positively this situation? I prefer to be top 4. I think most likely G2 probably would have avoided us, and we would have had to face Rogue. And I believe on both on stage and on a best of 5, we are going to be a really strong team. But I think there's something really good with the loser bracket, and it's that if we make good use of these 2 weeks of practice and we really improve ourselves and come to a better point when it comes to our practice, I think we can potentially, until the final, play up to 20 or 25 games when our regular season is made by 18 games. So those many games on official stage, it's going to be a lot, and that will mean that if we are finding ourselves, if we are getting advantage of these weeks of preparation and being better, that will mean that we are going to be really strong, and that path through the loser bracket is obviously going to arguably make us way stronger when it comes to prove ourselves, get confidence,